This video provides you with some basic first-line advice for gestational diabetes. So what is gestational diabetes? This is when you have high glucose levels that develops during pregnancy and usually disappears after giving birth. It can happen at any time during pregnancy, but it is more common in the second or third trimester. Gestational diabetes occurs as the body is unable to produce enough insulin to meet the extra needs in pregnancy. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas that helps to control blood sugar levels. In pregnancy, it is important to keep your blood sugars at a constant level. That's why you have been given a glucose meter to test at home. It is advised to test before breakfast and 1 hour after each meal. This will give you an idea of what is happening to your blood sugars during the day and night. To enable your baby to grow and develop properly, you should aim to keep your blood sugars within the following target ranges: 5.3 millimole per litre or less in the mornings, and less than 7.8 millimole per litre, or within the target range of 3.5 to 7.8 after meals. Carbohydrates will cause your blood sugars to increase, especially if eating larger portions. This is because carbohydrates are digested and broken down into glucose, or sugar, which is then absorbed into the bloodstream. Insulin is needed to transport the glucose to cells in your body where it will be used as energy. As discussed earlier, during gestational diabetes, it can be difficult for the body to produce enough insulin. We can find carbohydrate in foods like potatoes, bread, cereals, pasta, rice, yam, and cassava. Carbohydrates are also found in sugary foods and drinks like fizzy drinks, biscuits, cakes, and chocolate, and they're naturally found in fruit, fruit juice, as well as milk and yogurt. So there are a few changes you can make during your pregnancy to help control your blood sugar levels. Firstly, you should aim to avoid all sugary foods and drinks. Unfortunately, these types of foods can quickly raise your blood glucose levels and make it very difficult for you to achieve the target blood sugar reading after 1 hour. This includes sugar in any form, for example, table sugar, honey, jam, and syrup. You can use sweetener instead, like Splenda, Canderel, Sweetex, or Stevia, as this will not affect your blood sugars. It's also advised to avoid any full sugar drinks like Lucozade, Coca-Cola, lemonade, or energy drinks. In addition, fruit juice can contain a high amount of sugar as they have the fibre removed. You can choose sugar-free or no added sugar drinks instead. Finally, it's advised to avoid any sort of sugary sweets or foods like puddings, cakes, and biscuits. If you want to have something sweet with minimal effect on your blood sugars, try to have fresh fruit, Greek yogurt, or no added sugar jelly. Secondly, you should aim to control your portions of carbohydrate foods. You should aim to spread your carbohydrate intake throughout the day. For example, if you have 3 meals per day, aim to have 1 portion at each meal. Some examples of 1 portion of carbohydrate include 4 new or egg-sized potatoes, 2 medium slices of bread, 1 small or medium wrap or pita bread, or chapati. For cooked rice, cooked pasta, and couscous, it's recommended to have 4 tablespoons or a fist-sized amount as a portion. For cereals, a small bowl would be a portion, and for foods like fufu or plantain, it is advised to have half a fist size, as these foods are quite high in carbohydrate. These portions normally contain 40 to 50 grams of carbohydrates. You should avoid having double carbohydrate portions at 1 meal. For example, if you are going to have a curry, you should avoid having both rice and naan bread. Instead, try to choose one or the other. Also, try to avoid carbohydrate-only meals, for example, pasta and sauce, a pizza, a jacket potato. Instead, you should include vegetables and protein foods alongside. And finally, it's important to aim to balance your meals with protein, fat, vegetables, and fibre to decrease the glycaemic index, or GI. Protein and fat slow down digestion and so allow food in the gut to release glucose more slowly. Fiber also reduces the release of glucose from carbohydrates, as it is more difficult to digest or is indigestible. You don't have to avoid high GI foods, but it is advised to reduce the portions and add lower GI foods like vegetables and protein to reduce the overall GI of your meal. It is recommended to choose high fiber, seeded or whole grain options like brown rice and pasta or seeded bread to lower the glycemic index. So what is glycemic index? Glycemic index ranks foods based on how quickly they cause a rise in blood sugar levels after eating. Each time you eat or drink something containing carbohydrate, your blood sugar levels will rise. Some food containing carbohydrates are digested and absorbed quickly and cause a rapid rise in your blood sugar levels. These are known as high GI foods. Lower GI foods are digested more slowly, which makes your blood sugars rise gradually. The GI of a food is usually described as high, medium, or low. So it is important to include protein, fat, and fiber to decrease the overall GI of meals. Fruit can also affect your blood sugar. Try to spread portions of fruit over the day, having one portion at a time. A portion of fruit is what you can fit in the palm of your hand. For example, a medium-sized apple, pear, banana, or a handful of grapes. Include the skins on fruit where appropriate, as this is high in fiber. An average portion of fruit contains 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrates. Dried fruits have the water removed, so this concentrates the sugar and calories into a smaller package. A portion should be limited to 1 tablespoon. Fruit juice and smoothies need to be avoided or at least limited to a small glass per day, about 150 ml. These drinks have had most of the fiber removed, so the sugar present is absorbed more quickly into the bloodstream. Even if labelled unsweetened, they still contain the natural sugar of the fruit in a concentrated form. Vegetables do not affect our blood sugars, not including potatoes, as they contain a very small amount of carbohydrates. Vegetables and salad at a meal should cover at least a third to half of your plate. Green vegetables and salad can be eaten freely. They are a good source of fiber, vitamins and minerals. Frozen vegetables can be just as nutritious and fresh. Protein also doesn't affect our blood sugars. It is best to include protein at each meal alongside vegetables and carbohydrates. This will help regulate our blood sugar levels and reduce feelings of hunger. Try to aim for your protein source to cover about a quarter of your plate. Protein sources include meat, fish, eggs, nuts, beans and lentils. Exercise is helpful for managing your diabetes. The government recommends 30 minutes of physical activity per day, and it can be any type of exercise. For example, walking, dancing, cleaning, or stretching. A short walk, about 10 to 20 minutes after your meal, can help to reduce your blood sugar levels. So how can you implement all this advice into your diet? Here are some breakfast ideas. You could have 1 slice of whole grain or seeded bread or toast with a topping of your choice. Or you could have a plain or Greek-style yogurt with a handful of nuts or berries. Or you could have 1 chapati with a vegetable or meat curry. But sadly, cereals might not be a good idea, as they are not a low glycemic index food. For lunch and evening meals, you should aim for about 40 to 50 grams of starchy carbohydrates, which should make up about a third of your plate. Alongside this, you should include a portion of protein and a portion of vegetables. Between meals, if you're hungry, it is best to choose foods that are low GI or aim for less than 10 grams of carbohydrates. This will then not affect your blood sugars. Some ideas might be 2 crackers and cheese or ham or tomato, a handful of nuts, 2 satsumas, or puff type crisps. In summary, to manage your gestational diabetes effectively, it's important to have regular meals, regular exercise, limit your intake of carbohydrates but don't avoid them. Combine your carbohydrates with lean protein, fat and fiber where possible. Keep your snacks to about 10 grams of carbohydrates or less each time and eat according to your blood sugar levels, because you may not have to reduce your carbs as much. It's important to keep on top of checking them regularly before breakfast and after your meals. I hope you found this video helpful, and we are happy to answer any of your questions.